Hi all. So today we are going to start with module 1, that is dimensional analysis. Okay, so the module is dimensional and model analysis, and we are going to start with dimensional analysis. By the name dimensional analysis itself, you can understand that it is something to do with dimensions. And when I have an equation, I have a left hand side and a right hand side. So I'm trying to equate, try to equate both of them for finding out, solutions to it. So basically, it's a mathematical technique for solving problems by using the dimensions of physical quantities involved in the formula, in the phenomena. And it tries to simplify it by applying your dimensional homogeneity. Your dimensional homogeneity means if I have an equation, the dimensions of your left hand side is equal to the dimensions of your right hand side. If I've got more than one terms, so dimension of each quantity is same. Okay, so in detail we'll be going further. So the most physical quantities are expressed in terms of mass, length, time, electric current, and temperature. Now, in my preview of fluid mechanics, my main, basic units or fundamental units are mass, length, and time. We are not dealing much with electric current. Maybe whenever heat is involved, we do have the temperature aspect. Okay, and all the dimensions of physical quantities are written in my SI units. But if a equation is dimensionally homogeneous, the units does not matter because we are writing the dimensions, not the units. Okay, now there are two types of dimensions: the fundamental dimensions and derived dimensions. So in my preview of fluid mechanics and hydraulics, my main fundamental dimensions are length, mass, and time. Okay, we do have, whenever we are dealing with heat, we do have temperature also, but most commonly it is mass, length, and time. Okay, these are your fundamental dimensions. Your secondary dimensions or derived dimensions are, it is a combination of your length, mass, and time. Okay, so you have a lot of dimensions like your dimensions of velocity, force, density, etc., which can be expressed in terms of my fundamental dimensions. Now, these are some of the common dimensions of quantities. Remember to know the dimensions of a particular parameter. Like suppose if I want to know the dimension of velocity. First, go with the unit. The unit is, since my SI unit is most common, my unit is meter per second. Okay, so meter is in length, so L. Per second is time, so I'm getting L t to the power minus 1. So generally the dimensions are easily calculated when I know the unit, and then based on the unit to write the corresponding. If it is meter, it is length. If it is second, it is time, etc. Okay, so I have written some of the standard dimensions used for fluid mechanics. Okay, now you have got force. Your force, it's mass into acceleration. So mass is coming here. Okay, and acceleration is meter per second square. So meter is L, second square is written as t to the power minus 2. For knowing dimensional analysis, for solving problems, it is important to know the dimensions of certain standard, standard variables. Okay, like your density, your energy, viscosity. It is important to know. Otherwise, knowing the units, you can calculate it also. So these are some of the standard dimensions. You can just have a look through it. Now coming to dimensional homogeneity. Okay, and in this module, I have explained everything with example. Okay, why? Because it's a process. So process is best understood with the help of example. So dimensional homogeneity, it means that the dimension of each terms in an equation on both sides are equal. And such equations are independent of the system. So whenever my dimensional homogeneity exists, the system of unit is not of importance because your dimensions are equal on both sides. I've taken a simple example. V is equal to root 2gh. So when I come to the left hand side, the dimension is, so I'll first check the unit. The unit is meter per second. Meter is length, per second is time. So my dimensions of left hand side is L by T, that is L T to the power minus 1. Now coming to the right hand side, my 2 is a constant, it does not have a unit. Your G is having a unit, your G is acceleration. Acceleration, the unit is meter per second square. So I've written meter per second square. So meter is length, second square is time square. It's coming under root. H is again meter, it is length into L. So if I simplify it, I'm getting L T to the power minus 1. So both my left hand side and right hand side are same. So I can say that the equation is dimensionally homogeneous. Now if suppose I have an equation S is equal to UT plus half AT square. It's the most common equation used for your linear motion. There also S, the dimensions of S, the dimensions of UT, the dimensions of half AT square, all should be homogeneous. Okay, each term also should be homogeneous. Now we are going to deal with two methods for your dimension analysis. The first is a Rayleigh's method. It's a very simple method. The second method is Buckingham Pi method. It's a little confusing, so we'll go step by step. So first we'll go deal with the Rayleigh's method. So I told you I'm explaining everything with an example so that you can better understand it. So in the Rayleigh's method, so here what we're trying to do is we are trying to know the dependent variable, okay, trying to form the equation of the dependent variable based on a lot of independent variables, okay. Like for my example, my formula for power. What is the formula for power? It is HQ into W, or most commonly we're telling WQ into H. So your power is a dependent variable. It depends on your H, Q, and W. Okay. So coming to the methodology, I'm first writing the functional relationship of the given data. Here, Y is a dependent variable. Your X1, X2, X3 are your independent variable for the analysis. Then the equation is written in its exponential form. When I say exponential form, I'm writing the dimensions of each quantity. Okay, now if x1 is equal to the diameter, so diameter is length, length to the power a. Okay, for example. Then the dimensions of variables are written using the combination of m, l, and t, as I told you earlier. After we write the exponent to the power ABC, I am writing each variable in terms of m, l, and t. Then, so that includes even your x1, x2, x3, as well as your dimensions of y, both sides. Then your dimensional homogeneity is applied, where now if suppose I have got my m value here, I'm equating the m value here with each of the m values here, okay, by adding it. So m, value of m is equal to value of m in x1, value of m in x2, value of m in x3. And then I'm finding by simultaneous equations, I'm trying to solve my ABC value, okay, the form. And finally, after knowing the ABCD value, I can write the equation in its simplified form. Now I'll tell you the example which gives you better clarity. Now the limitation of this method is, the method looks very easy, but the limitation is I have to have the number of parameters or variables should be less than 4. So the maximum is 3. Beyond 3, this method does not work out well. Okay. So I am finding the expression. So I'm finding the expression for the power developed by a pump when P depends upon the head, discharge, and specific weight of the fluid. So what I'm writing power is equal to, I'm introducing a constant. See, it just told that it depends on head, discharge, and specific weight. So I'm introducing a constant so that I can write the equation. I can write this equal to. So power equal to, they have told it depends on H, Q, and W. So as per the methodology, I'm writing in the exponent form, H to the power A, Q to the power B, W to the power C. This is the meaning of writing in its exponential form. And then I'm going to write down in its dimensional form. So for P, it is ml square into t to the power minus 3. For H, it is length, L, meter. Q is, discharge, volume per second. So L cube into t minus 1. And W is your specific weight. So it is weight by volume, m L to the power minus 2, t to the power minus 2. It is essential that you should know the dimensions. Otherwise, from the units, you can get your dimensions. Now, then what I'm doing, I'm writing in this, dimensions form. For P, I'm writing it this side on the left-hand side. K into L to the power A. This is your discharge, L cube T to the power minus 1 into the power B. And this is your specific weight to the power C. Then I'm trying to solve, okay? I'm equating the m here to the m this position. So when I take the power of m, at the left hand side it is 1. On the right hand side, here I don't have any m term, here also no. Here I've got an m term. So the power is c. So 1 is equal to c. Now coming to your L, my left hand side, it has got 2, the power is 2. So 2 is equal to, here I've got LA. So I've got A plus 3B plus, so not plus, minus 2C. So wherever the power is there, I am adding or subtracting based on the unit. So this is the power of L, and the power of T is here on the left hand side, it is minus 3. Now the next term is here, so minus B and minus 2C. So solving these three equations, I'll be getting C is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, and A is equal to 1. And substituting that here, so this will be power is equal to K is a constant, H to the power 1, Q to the power 1, W to the power 1. And I get the simple expression P is equal to K, H, Q, W. So suppose, imagine the value of A is 2. So what will happen? K, so A here is your H. So K, H square, Q, W. So these, here it is 1, so it looks like a simple equation, but your values of A, B, C can change. So this is your Rayleigh's method. So I'll revert back the method. I'm writing the functional relationship. So this is your dependent, independent variables. Then I'm writing in its exponential form. When I say exponential form, to this each independent variable, I'm writing to the power A, to the power B, to the power C. And then I'm writing in the form of dimensions. Dimensions, I'm writing both your dependent variable as well as your independent variable. And then I'm equating, equating the exponents of M, exponents of L, and exponents of T, and then finding the value of A, B, and C, and then putting back this into my equation. So the limitation is, the method is simple, but when the number of parameters is, it can be used only when it is less than 4. That is only for maximum 3 parameters. Now coming to the next theorem is your Buckingham's pi theorem, or the next method. Now here I can have more than 3, more than 3 variable parameters. Okay, so how does it do? Okay, if there are n variables in a dimensionally homogeneous equation, and if these variables contain m fundamental dimensions, they may be grouped into n minus m non-dimensional independent pi terms. So this is your explanation of what is your Buckingham's theorem. Okay, I've not told the steps, only the explanation. If there are n variables, okay, when I do the problem, it will be clear, in a dimensionally homogeneous equation, and if these variables contain m fundamental. Now generally most of the time we'll be dealing with m, l, and t, so my small m value is mostly 3. Okay, they may be grouped into n minus m non-dimensional independent pi terms, and then we'll be finding what is my pi term. Now coming to the procedure, now here again, I'll be writing the functional relationship with the given data. So if x1 is a, dependent variable, and these are your independent variables. X1 is your dependent, and independent variables are x2, x3, x4 up to xn. I can write x1 as function of x2, x3, x4 up to xn. Then I'm writing in its general form. When I'm writing in the general form, I'm including your dependent variable also inside, and the function of that is equated to 0. So I've got x1 to xn, and that is equal to 0. So here it contains n variables and m fundamental dimensions. So I'll have the number of pi terms as n minus m. So that again I will write f1. Okay. So here it was f. Here the function is f1. So here again f1. So that is equal to, we have got pi terms n minus m pi terms. So pi 1, pi 2, pi 3 up to pi n minus m, and that you equated to 0. Then every pi term, okay, so each pi term, what will contain? It will contain m repeating variables. Remember, small m is generally 3. Your mass, length, and time are your fundamental variables, fundamental dimensions, so 3. So every pi term will contain m repeating variables and one remaining variable. So generally, your m is 3, so 3 plus 1, 4 terms it will have, or 4 variables it will have. The repeating variables are written in the exponential form. Okay, so in that 4 variables, 3 variables I'll be writing in its exponential form. When I say exponential form, to the power a, to the power b, to the power c. Then with the principle of the dimensional homogeneity, the values of a, b, c are obtained by simultaneous equation. Once the values are done, you are substituting in the exponents, and then these pi terms I am writing in my equation in the most simplest form. Okay, so we'll do the example here, so it's a little bit lengthy. So remember, functional equation, then this independent variable I'm taking it inside, sorry, not independent, dependent variable I'm taking it inside. I'll have functions equal to 0. So these terms I'm substituting by the pi terms. So pi terms are totally n minus 1 equated to 0. So find each pi term. Remember, your pi is a non-dimensional quantity. So find each term, and then you'll be substituting in your general equation. Okay, so basically what is happening is we are trying to find the relationship between your dependent variable and the independent variable. So coming to the example, so this problem is it has come in one of your papers. So it is proved that the frictional torque of a disk of diameter d rotating at a speed of n in a fluid of viscosity mu and density in a turbulent flow is given by torque is d to the power 5 n square rho phi of mu d square n rho. Your phi is a function of, okay, function of mu divided by d square n rho. So we'll go step by step on how to calculate it. The method may sound very confusing, but if you understand it, it's quite simple. So the first thing what I do, in my question, it is told that your T depends on D, N, mu and rho. So I'll be writing T is equal to, it's a function of D, N, mu and rho. So the next thing what I'm writing, F1, I'm taking this T inside. So F1 is T, D, N, mu and rho is equal to 0. So here the number of variables are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of variables are 5. And then I'm writing the dimensions of each variable. So for torque, your torque is basically force into distance. So if you remember your dimensions of force, your force is mass into acceleration. So ml t to the power minus 2 into distance is dl. So I'll have ml square t to the power minus 2. For D, it is length. For N, it is per second. It is an RPM, rotations per minute, so it is per second. Mu, M, L to the power minus 1, T to the power minus 1. Your rho is your density, so mass per volume, so mass, M, L to the power minus 3. It is important that you know the dimensions. If you don't know the dimensions, I repeat, from your units, you can calculate your dimensions. Now here the number of fundamental dimensions. Now you can see I've got M, L and T, no other. So from my dimensions I can see my fundamental dimensions are only 3, that is M, L and T. Now suppose you have temperature, if you have one more T, so then it will become 4. But here by whatever parameters we have only 3 dimensions. So my number of variables is 5, number of fundamental dimensions is 3. Your number of variables is basically your n value. small n value, number of fundamental dimensions is your m value. So the number of pi terms is n minus m, that is 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Hence, f1 is given by pi 1 comma pi 2 is equal to 0. Now in the next term, I told you each pi term contains m plus 1. That is m is equal to 3. M is a number of fundamental, units. So fundamental units of fundamental quantities. So I have got 3 plus 1 is equal to 4 variables. So in this 4 variables, so each pi term will have 4 variables. In this 3 variables are supposed to be repeating variables. So I have to choose it. Okay, so I'm choosing here the repeating variables are d, n, and rho. And to these repeating variables, I'll be adding my exponents a, B, and C. Since I've got two pi terms, I'm writing it as A1, B1, C1. For the second pi term, A2, B2, C2. So for pi 1, so these are your repeating variables and one variable extra. So your one variable is, if you see in the problem, there are 5 variables. So I've taken D, N, and rho. D, N, and rho. So I've got two terms remaining, T and mu. So for the first pi term, I've taken T as a fourth term. For the second pi term, I've taken mu as my fourth term. So I'm writing, I'll first calculate the dimensional analysis of pi 1. So pi values are dimensionless. So here I'm writing the dimension m to the power 0, L to the power 0, to t to the power 0. Now coming to D, the dimension is L, L to the power A1. For N, it is t to the power minus 1 D1. For your rho, it is M, L to the power minus 3 C1. And for T, it does not have any exponent. So I'm just writing as it is M L square t to the power minus 2. So the same procedure of Rayleigh is followed now. Power of M, so 0 is equal to, for M here, you have only in your C1 plus here 1. So power of L, 0 is equal to, I've got A1 minus C1 plus 2. Power of T, again 0 minus B1 minus 2. So using our simultaneous equations, I can get the value of A1, B1, and C1. So here I've got A1 is equal to minus 5, B1 is equal to minus 2, and C1 is equal to minus 1. So I'm writing pi 1 is equal to, so D, A1 I've got minus 5, D to the power minus 5, N to the power minus 2, rho to the power minus 1 into T. So if I write it in this form, I'll have T divided by d to the power 5 n square divided by rho. So t divided by d to the power 5 n square rho. So this is your first pi 1 we have found out. Now similarly, we will be doing the dimensional analysis of pi 2. So I'm going to write the dimensions. The left hand side, it's all 0. It's a dimensionless quantity. Here again, I'll be writing in terms of A2, B2, C2. My fourth parameter is changing. So this will change my values of your A2, B2, and C2. So I've written it. Now solving this again, I'll be getting the same manner as your previous one, 0. I'm solving the power of M, L, and T. So solving this, I'll be getting A2 is equal to minus 2, B2 is equal to minus 1, and C2 is equal to minus 1. So substituting that, I've got pi 2 is equal to t to the power minus 2, n to the power minus 1, rho to the power minus 1 into mu. So mu divided by d square and rho. So I've got the values of pi 1 and pi 2. So substituting the value in this, f1 is equal to pi 1 comma pi 2 is equal to 0. So I'll be getting, this is my first pi term, t divided by 5 d to the power 5 n square rho comma mu divided by d square n rho is equal to 0. So this can be written as, okay, I'm taking it out. Remember, I had taken it in, now I'm taking it out. So I can write it as t divided by d to the power 5 n square rho is equal to function of your mu divided by d square n rho. So if I take these terms on the right hand side, I've got torque is equal to d to the power 5 n square rho into your function 5 mu function of mu divided by d square n rho. So this is a standard way of doing your Buckingham pi theory. So if I go back to the procedure, so I'm writing in the functional way, I'm taking my x1 inside, then I'm using your pi terms. Your pi terms are based on your number of variables and your fundamental quantities. I'm finding the value of pi as I'm doing by simultaneous equations, and then I'm substituting it back and then retaining it in my function relationship. So thank you. We have discussed the two methods. Thank you.